hopefully that's all good. Hello everyone. Welcome and happy Sunday. Hope you've all had a lovely weekend. I'm just setting up the live, and then if you're watching the replay, feel free to skip ahead a little bit because I tend to wait for people to join for a couple of minutes and just make sure everything is all hunky-dory. But if you're watching the replay, please do say hi. I'd love to know that you're watching and that you enjoy the videos because I really enjoyed making them. I'm just setting this up, making sure that live captions are on. I hope you've all had an awesome weekend. And this is slightly different to my usual lives because I'm usually live on a Saturday. Today I'm doing it on a Sunday because we had a birthday dinner last night. So that interrupted my usual programming. But it was nice to go out and not cook. And I didn't cook tonight either because I'm actually home alone. Okay, I'll let Facebook do its thing and let everyone know that I'm live. Let me know when you join. I'd love to know. Make sure that my comments are working. Oops. Okay. I think it's all good. Tonight I'm going to be making a really cool fun fold that's actually really simple. Hoping that this is live on the right page. It's a really simple card and it's using this Mediterranean Blooms suite. I always get messed up because the suite name is not necessarily the name of the bundle. The bundle and the dies now have the same name, which is really cool, but the suite quite often has a different name to the stamp bundle, so sometimes it can get a little bit confusing. Okay, that's really weird. Okay, I think it's gone live. Oh goodness, computers. They're always fun. But I shouldn't complain because I'm here tonight by myself. The boys, well, Adam's at work and Elijah is with his grandparents. I have all the internet bandwidth to myself, so there shouldn't be an issue. Oh, hey Sue, I'm glad because I wasn't sure that I was actually live, so I'm glad that you're on and you've commented. It means I'm live and I'm in the right place, obviously. It was giving me the heebie-jeebies for a minute. Okay, so anyway, I received a card and I can't show the card because it's actually for a chain card swap that I'm in, but it was a cool, really simple fun fold and I was inspired to recreate it. I had seen it quite a while ago, like I'm pretty sure it might have been either last year or the year before from the Paper Pixie. I think is her name Julie. I'm going to butcher her name, but it was called a side latch fun fold, and it was using this really pretty suite, which I haven't used enough yet. So I thought this is a great reason to make the card. The card I'm showing you tonight isn't the original I made because that's for a chain card swap that I can't show until we're done. But I made another one because I thought it was super fun. So, yeah, I pulled out this suite and I used everything in it. The papers, the stamp set, the dies, these really beautiful, what are they called? Opal rounds, which are really sparkly on the inside. So I'll show you the bits and pieces that I have used. I have got out the papers. I've just stacked a bunch of stuff on top of them. So the stamp set is this pretty one here. I'm not using the actual images. Oh no, I am. I'm using the little flowers, but I'm not using these big images tonight. I'm using the designer series paper, which you'll see in a minute why. It also has these coordinating dies, which you get a ton of dies in this one. And there's something really cool about the dies I'll show you in a moment. These are the beautiful opal rounds, which I'm hoping you can see through the packet. I should get them out because I've got to use them anyway. They're really pretty and they've got like a pearlescent sparkle to them. They're really cute. And then I'm also using, I'll show you this first though. Oh goodness, I'm a hot mess. I'm going to spill coffee in a minute. Okay. These are the beautiful designer series papers that go along with the suite. So I'm going to show you the front side first. There's this beautiful design with the lemons and beautiful flowers. And this one's kind of got the flowers and the greenery all over the background. And then we go into oranges, so the different citrus. And then this one. Now, I wanted to show you this one because these dies that come with the bundle actually cut out. They match with these images. So they will cut out all of these beautiful images on this background. Oh, hey Sonia, thanks for sharing. That means a lot. So yeah, they match in, which is perfect. You don't even have to fussy cut that one, but then you'll laugh when you see what I did tonight. This is the mixture of the oranges and the lemons. Oh, I have got hiccups. And then just the lemons. Now, the lemons don't coordinate with the dies because these are meant for the oranges, but you can still fussy cut them, which is what I'm doing tonight. Sorry. But then the back sides of these is quite different. This is the Mediterranean vibe. So we've got, I think it's boho blue, night of navy, and balmy blue. And then there's these different designs on the back. I'm loving this one, which I think is the back of the lemons. Oh no, it's the back of this one. This one must be, that's the back of the lemons. So yeah, really pretty and so different, isn't it? So they're the designer series papers, but I'm also using the Spotlight on Nature dies. This is a great set of dies, even without the stamps it comes with. Mind you, this month you can get these bundles at 10% off extra. So they're usually 10% off anyway, but you get an extra 10, so they're 20% off. But this one comes with a huge range of circles, and I'm going to use that tonight. So I will... Hey Anita, how are you? My Facebook has been playing up all week, so I kept getting messages that my posts were being removed because I was spamming, which was really weird. And it's been playing up and not putting out my posts, I think. So we'll see how tonight goes. It's been a pain in the bum. Okay, so that's the bundle that I'm using, and I'm using a couple other bits, but I'll show. It is nice and cold. I'm not sure what the exact temperature is, but I actually think, and I said this in my other live today, that some of the east coast of Australia is actually colder at the moment than Tasmania, which is rather funny. Because it's not usually like that. I'm not sure if oh, hello from Wales. That's exciting. Actually, it'd be warmer there, wouldn't it, at the moment? Current, oops. It's currently 8 degrees, so it's actually not that bad. But it gets very cold of a night time. Yeah, I reckon. Hello, Christine. Okay, so I think Facebook has sent out the message I'm live. It was just being very, very slow. So today before I start this card, today on my VIP page, which the link to my VIP page should be in the description. Everyone is welcome to join. Doesn't matter if you're a demonstrator or where you're from. I played with the is it called Hello Hollyhocks? I think it's called Hello Hollyhocks. Yeah. Kit, and I made up, so once a month I like to go live on the page and make up one of the creativity kits. So today I made the 3 cards that come in this kit and made them just as the instructions say. So I made these ones, and then just to spice it up a little bit, I changed out and made a couple of quick alternatives. So I made this one and this one. So I added some stitching around here, and this is the 1 card base. So you can tell there it actually joins up. That's the back of the card base, and this is the front. So I've just cut them and put them on different card bases and added some bits to zhuzh them up a little bit. So that was a bit fun, and I do that once a month on my VIP page. So it's just a bit of an extra, and they're not shown anywhere. Like, I don't do that video anywhere else. So that was fun today, and that was what the reel was, where I was showing how messy my desk was, because I made a right royal mess all over my desk. So I'm just going to take a coffee because I'm talking too much and it makes me run out of air. Okay, so the card that I'm sharing tonight is this one here. Now it doesn't, you might wonder what on the earth, it doesn't look like a fun fold, but what happens is this one's folded back. So it's called a side latch fold because that's actually what keeps it closed. So on the inside, I've added more designer series paper, and I really enjoyed combining the citrus with the Mediterranean blues. And so you fold that down and then fold that over, and that latches together shut again. So it's actually quite a simple, fun fold, but really, really effective. And I have been loving doing using designer series paper. Also, I was inspired by Cindy Schuster. She works at the Home Office as one of the concept artists. She combined the citrus with pops of pink. So I was really inspired to get out some pink and combine it with these yellows, greens and blues. So that was a bit fun. Okay, so I'm going to get started and show you how I have made... Hey Megan, this is the card that I'm making. It's a side latch card. You know, you could whip up some more for swaps. Okay, so I actually thought, because it's a more simple card, which by the way, stay tuned to the end because I'm going to share a sneak peek of next week's card. I spent most of yesterday trying to work out measurements for this card and then convert it to imperial as well. So I decided not to do it tonight because I want to make up an alternative and I haven't finished it. So I'll share a sneak peek at the end because I'm organised and I've got next week's done, only because I wasn't organised and finished it. And didn't finish it, sorry. So let's get started. I have got half a sheet of A4 in boho blue, which is going to be my card base. So alternatively, if you are doing imperial, you would just have half a sheet of 8.5 by 11. So I've got my measurements here because I'm actually going to cut it along with you. I haven't cut up a card kit or anything today. So I'm going to take half my sheet of A4 and I'm going to do my standard score in half. So for imperial, that would be at 4 1/4. So I'm just going to score that in half. Now, before I actually go and do the put that together, I'm going to do my next bits. So I've got my card scored. What I want to do is actually pop that back in the trimmer and line it up at 2.5 or 1 inch if you're using imperial. And I'm just going to score that. So that will be the back side of the card. Now I'm going to do a flipperoonie and do the same measurement, so 2.5 or 1 inch, and I'm just going to cut that off. So wow, I really just flicked it everywhere. That's going to be essentially our fun fold. I'm going to need my trimmer, so I won't put it too far away. I'm going to find... I thought I was organised, but I'm not. Okay, so I'm just going to score these folds now. I'll make sure that's nicely scored, and then I think I actually, yeah, no, I did that the wrong way. So I'm going to score that along, and then we've got our back piece, which is just scored. What I want to do is fold that back on itself and reinforce that score. It's going to sit flat, but what we need it to do is be able to bend to operate that fun fold. Okay, so that is our card base. Now we need to cut our layers, which I thought I'd just cut along with you. Nothing like being unprepared. Okay, so for the layers, I decided to use Balmy Blue because it was a nice coordinating colour with what I was working with. So I want to do 2 large pieces of this, which are going to be our mats for the card front here, but also the piece of basic white. So the bit where you're going to add your greeting. So I want to cut 2 to the same size. So I'm going to cut them to 7.8 centimetres, which would be 3 1/8 of an inch. And then I'm going to cut it to 14.7, which will be 5 3/8. Now, I don't know, is that... Am I going to get 2? Yes, I am. Very noisy car. Okay, so that's my 2 bits of Balmy Blue that I need for there, and then I'm going to get some basic white because I need a bit that I will add that's going to be in the middle of my card. So I'm going to cut this one to 7.6, 14.5, which would be 3 inches by 5 1/4 in Imperial. And then I want to do my piece that will be my side latch. So that's here. So I'm just going to add a small layer of balmy blue for this one. So I reckon I'm going to have to cut this way. So for that one, I'm going to go at 2.3 centimeters to be very specific, by 14.7. And that is 7/8 of an inch by 5 3/8 of an inch. So I think that's all the cardstock pieces I need, but now what I need to do is actually cut some of the designer series paper. So I've got some scrap pieces rather than cutting into a new one. I'll see if this one will work. So that's the pattern I'm going to use for the front of my card. Now I want to cut one of these for the front panel of the card here. So I'm going to cut that to 14.5, which I'm just going to make sure this is wide enough. Yeah, it is. I'm just going to cut it right down. So 14.5. Sorry, I'm running out of air. I need an asthma puffer or something. So I'm going to cut that to 14.5 by 7.6, which is 3 inches by 5 1/4. Now, I'm actually just going to move that along now because I know it's the right height. So it's still 14.5, but I want to cut a piece to 14.5 by 2.1. And then if you've got a patterned piece that runs across that you want the same direction, by doing that, they're actually going to line up. So that's a way to do that. And then the other bit of designer series paper we need is for the inside, which is why I shouldn't have cut that. But anyway, because that's not going to work now, I will just grab another piece. So I want my lemons, and they're going to be for the inside. Oh, that's annoying. They're going to run the wrong way. Okay. Ours is a bit of a silly sausage. I'm going to cut a different piece. Okay. So for the inside, I want it to be the same as the large pieces of cardstock. So I'm going to go 7.8 because I'm not going to mat. Are they running the right way? Yeah. So I want it to be 7.8 by 14.7. All these measurements will be in the PDF, by the way. And then what that is in inches is 3 1/8 by 5 3/8. So that is the designer series paper. The only other piece we need is a little piece which I added as a strip to decorate the inside, and I'm going to cut that at 1 centimeter, which I did forget this off the measurement sheet at first, but I have added it in. So 1 centimeter is about just over 1/4 of an inch, and I want to cut that to, how wide is that? 14.5, which is 5 1/4. Yeah. Okay, so that's all the cutting. Now I can start putting those bits together. So this one is for the front of the card. I'll move this one out of the way. And then we've got a layer to put our strip of designer series paper on. And then one of these layers will go underneath our designer series paper there. And these bits are all for the inside of the card. So we'll start with these pieces first. I'm just going to adhere these down with some liquid glue. Mind you, if you want to blast from the past, I've actually been using snail. So I found a big box of adhesive. When I say a big box, I mean a big box of like unopened adhesives. So I have been using up all of my old snail adhesive, which is so funny. It's feels like that went to retirement ages ago. That along with fast fuse. Okay, so I'm just sticking these down to these layers of balmy blue. And then I'm going to add my adhesive on the back of that balmy blue. And so I want to stick this piece to that folded back flap here on the outside there. So just lining that up, sticking that one down. Is it cold in Queensland, Megan? Mind you, Queenslanders always say it's cold. Okay. My auntie puts the fire on in summer. It's weird. Okay. So that is those pieces. And then I can adhere this piece to the inside. So that's going to go on the inside of this flap here. Stick that one down. Oops. Gosh, I love liquid glue because I never stick them. You're late. That's all right, Verity. I've only just started. So we're making this side latch fun fold, and all I have done is cut the pieces and I've started sticking them down. Okay, so I might just start with this one. I'm going to take, I've got so much stuff in the way at the moment. Okay. I'm going to take my piece of basic white. You don't have to do it in this order, but this is the way I find easiest to show. So I'm going to take that and grab my lemon lolly ink. And I've got my blending brush, which is so much easier on the glass mat to do blending, but the only reason I don't use the glass mat in live videos is because it does reflect my lights, which it is anyway. You can see it on the edge. But it's worse if I've got it totally out for show. But the glass mat is amazing for using these blending brushes. And for those that missed out, demonstrators can actually buy the glass mat this month, or you can join and add it to your starter kit. Okay, so I'm just really blending in some of that lemon lolly, and that'll do, I reckon. And then I'm going to grab out some pumpkin pie, put that in there, and then I'm just going to add a tiny bit of pumpkin pie just to bring in some of that orange. Glass mat makes it so much easier to blend. Okay. What I loved doing on this one was, I don't know why, I just went to town with the Daffodil Delight Stamping Right marker. So I realise that I don't often talk about what I'm doing with the small stuff I do all the time, and some people may not. Gosh, that's dirty, I need to clean it. When I spritz a marker, I get the cap of the marker and the tip of the marker and just flick it against that cap. So it actually puts spritzes of ink on the background, which may be hard to see, but it's just a subtle effect that adds texture to the background. So I love doing that. Over time, it may not be good for your marker. It would take a long time to wreck it, but I love doing it so much. It's probably the number one way I use my markers. I'm actually going to buy another set. Specifically, I'm going to keep that one for good use and then use these old ones for spritzing. But I love doing it. So this is going to go on here, and then I'm going to put the strip down the side. But I actually want to, which you can see on my finished one, I've added a bit of the designer series paper foliage on the background. So what I'll show you is the piece with the lemons, which I've got down here somewhere. So this is the main piece of pattern paper that I use for my card, which the dies don't coordinate with, but it's easy enough to fussy cut out. So for pieces like I'm going to put on here, it's a great way to use these edge pieces and not waste them. So you may not get a whole lemon, but you can still cut around them and use them. So I have cut a few pieces here ahead of time, which I don't know that any of these, they may be too big. Let's just have a look. The other one I used was quite small, but I can push that back a bit and have just a lemon coming out. We'll go with it. We'll do it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is add a little bit of glue to this piece, and then I'm just going to stick it. I know that doesn't look even, but the reason for that is I want it to sit in that direction. So then once I've stuck that, I'm going to just get a little bit of glue and adhere my little strip down. So essentially we've just made the fun fold. It's just decorating now. So I've just adhered that down, and then I'm going to stick this piece to my layer of balmy blue. Oh, that's so annoying. This piece is a little bit over. I want to cut it. You get to see my perfectionism in full swing because I can't help myself. I hope you don't get as many noisy cars as we do, Verity. I wonder if you can hear them in the live. They're so noisy. Okay, so that's my decorated panel, which is going to be for the inside. Actually, before I stick that, I might stamp it. So I'm going to pop, there's a couple of greetings in the stamp set. So we've got hello, all the love, you're the best kind of person, and just checking in. And I'm going to use the you're the best kind of person. Now I'm using Stays On. You can use mementos. We have a black in memento as well. But I really like the deep black of the Stays On. So that's why I'm using that. Perfect. Okay, so now we're ready to pop that in. It's weird that I'm doing the inside before I've decorated the card, but it's the flow that I'm working in tonight. Okay, so I have stuck that in, and now we've got the decorated inside, and this is ready to go now. Just, I'm going to reinforce that score. Okay, now this is going to be our latch, but I think I did show you the Spotlight on Nature dies that I'm using. There is 3 different styles in here. So there's one that has like an embossed ridge on it. And then there's this little one with the little, they look like fleur-de-lis or something. And then this one with a little dashed lines around the edge. How do you get the Stays On off? So on this, I have Stays On Cleaner from Stampin' Up. And it's got the felt tip pad on the top. So I just dot that on. And you can just use a chamois to remove that, or you can pop it in the stamping scrub. So I'm just going to dab that off with the chamois. So for those that aren't familiar with Stays On, it's a permanent ink. It's an alcohol-based ink, so it does stain your stamps. It will stain photopolymer regardless. But, you know, my opinion is that if your stamps are stained, as long as you clean them so there's not like a build-up of ink, but if your stamps are stained, it means that you love stamping and you're using your things. So if you can see that, that has come up nice and clean. I have that and the scrub thing. You've never used them? Wow. I use mine all the time. So my cleaning, slight intervention, the things I use for cleaning, this is the chamois that comes with the glass mat. There's also this chamois, which is our stamping chamois. Fantastic. It's thicker than the one that comes with the mat. So these are 2 different thicknesses. Now I keep these in a standard stamp case, which you can buy from Stampin' Up as well. They're fantastic. The other cleaning option is the stamping scrub. So when you open this plastic folder up, there is actually little, they're probably really hard to see on the video, but there is little images of raindrops and a sun. So the raindrop side is where you add your cleaning mist. So we have this is a very old bottle. It doesn't come like this anymore. It comes in a bigger bottle. But I like keeping this to refill it. So then you just spray some mist onto the wet side. You would get your stamp and just give it a scrub. And you'll see a bit of cleaning solution foaming up. So that's how you clean. And then on the side with the sun, you'll just give it a bit of a clean on that side. And that brings them up really nicely. So there's our 3 types of cleaning tools as well as our mist. So that is, you've lost your bottle. I know. They come in a big, I think, I probably have one down here. Oh gosh, I have the old one still. So that comes, you can get a refill bottle, but I don't think they sell them like this now. They've got, this used to be how they came, but there's a big, it's black and white with the new logo. You can tell how long it lasts when I don't even have the new packaging. So I'll pop that aside. Oh, I need a coffee now. Okay, so where was I? I've got this out of Lemon Lolly cardstock, and that was using, sorry, the one, two, I think it's the third largest of that design, the one with the dashing lines. So that's how I did that. Now I'm going to go around the edges with some pumpkin pie. So I'm going to grab back out my pumpkin pie ink. Grab some pumpkin pie now. I try and start off so you get the heavy ink on the paper. Otherwise you'll get big blobs of ink on your design. So I'm just going to go around the circle just to add a little bit of darker colour around the edges. I wonder if you can just get the new, I don't think they have the little bottles of Stampin' Mist anymore, which is a bit annoying that they only come in a big bottle. Okay. So I have got that around the edge and lots of ink on my fingers, which is also what a chamois is great for. Okay, so then I want to attach this now to my card, but I only want to attach it on this panel here. You don't want to get any glue on this panel, otherwise you'll stick your card shut. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue just there, and I roughly know where that is going to be. So I like to wing it. Not everyone likes to do that, but then if you, oh goodness, needs a moment to obviously adhere. If I flip that back, you can also put the liquid glue on the circle, flip it back and stick the card on top. That way you know you're not getting any adhesive where it shouldn't be. So I'm just giving that a press down. So I know that that's good to go. Now, what I'll do next is we need to decorate. So I have cut out two, oh, I thought I kicked a dog then, but no, it was the paper thing. There are two golden retrievers sitting in here. They're not used to being in here when I'm live, but the boys aren't home. So the door's open. Okay, so this is, I thought I would leave one to fussy cut with you. Not to bore you, but just in case anyone isn't familiar with fussy cutting and wanted to see how I fussy cut. So these are the images. Now what I like to do is actually, if you can see there, I'm moving the paper. So that gives you a smoother cut. So these are our paper snips, and they're really fantastic for fussy cutting. They've got a great sharp blade and they're small enough to be able to get into the finer spaces. So I'm moving the paper, not the scissors, because when you move the scissors, so if I'm cutting the scissors and moving them, you get more jaggedy edges. So you'll get a smoother finish if you actually curve the paper around the blade. So, and then if you're using the back of the blade also, so when you chop with this front bit, you're not going to get as fine of a cut. So using the back of the blade and curving the paper around, and then I'm not even letting it get further up the tip before I move the paper again from the back of the blade and curve it around. So it's a couple of tips, and once you get that down, you'll get much nicer, smooth fussy cutting. And I don't get precise with every little bend and curve because I'm leaving a white line around the edge of my image. And what that does is allows a little bit of room for not cutting exact. This lemon lolly is very hard to see to cut around. So when you've got the white line, it can vary, a white edge, sorry, it can vary a little bit. You don't have to be exact because you're leaving a nice little border. So I'm just moving the paper. Also, when you've got a bit hanging off, that's distracting, cut it off so you don't have to worry about extra paper hanging off. Fussy cutting can be really therapeutic for me. In fact, I could take a designer series paper that needs fussy cutting, sit there and cut the whole thing for hours, I reckon, if I'm watching TV. I find it quite relaxing, but not everyone loves fussy cutting, and that's okay. I mean, you could do the oranges, which have the matching dies instead, or you can stamp these orange images and colour them and then die cut them, so you don't have to do this step of fussy cutting. I just really wanted to use these lemons. I thought they were a bit cute. I love that they've combined the citrus fruit. I think it's awesome. Okay. And going around the actual lemons or oranges, they've got straight lines, so they're really not hard to cut around. Okay, we're almost there. And there we have it, a fussy cut lemon. You said, oh, okay, I'm going to charge per minute, Megan. You love fussy cutting even. Oh, wow, with arthritic hands. Do you use the paper snips, Christine? Okay, so then I can't decide. With the original, I had, with this one, so my original card, I've actually done the set of the one lemon, and I have tucked in behind it not a full set. So it wasn't a full lemon, and it was a cut off the edge design of the paper. So because you can get away with it because you are actually adhering them down over one another, so you can't see that bit's off the edge of the paper, and it's a great way to make the most of your designer series paper without wasting those beautiful designs on the edge. So what I'm going to do is, wow, you do well, Christine. I've seen like ergonomic scissors that some people use. I love my paper snips from Stampin' Up. So I'm just sort of working out roughly where these will go, because I don't want the leaf to hang too much over this edge, because it's got to be able to fit in an envelope. So I want to move those around until I'm happy with where they're going to sit. I like this lemon sort of being up there, with this one coming down there. So I'm just going to go with that. Now what I'm doing is I'm picking them up so they're both together. Now the reason for that is I don't want to lose that positioning. So I'm just adding glue just to that bottom set of lemons, and then I can remember where I had it. I think it was roughly, I'll pop that there, roughly there. And I just realised, make sure you do not have glue on the overhanging bits. I'm just going to grab my chamois and just wipe that bit of glue off that I added there, because that will adhere to the base card and we don't want that. Okay, so then this second one, I then want to adhere with some Stampin' Dimensionals. I've got nice sticky fingers now. That's beautiful. Hey Jenny, hey Emma, how are you? We're just talking about all things fussy cutting. Do you guys love fussy cutting? Now, the dimensionals, I'm not going to go on the whole thing, because we don't want to pop them on those two leaves because they're going to overhang. So I'm just going to add some dimensionals to the other bits. You can probably, I don't know, I've added quite a few. You don't really need to add that many. Jenny, do you have the Mediterranean sweet? Gorgeous. Okay, so then I want to work out the positioning. I just had that in. I think it was roughly there. Looks good. Make sure that we can't see any dimensionals at the back. Turn it over. And then I'm just going to move all my dimensionals. So I've got one lemon left over now. Now what I want to do is I'm going to work on the bits and pieces that are going to go around and fill that in. So I have pre-cut. Look at my preparation. Here's some I prepared earlier. Okay. I have cut out a couple of these little greenery pieces, which you get 4 dies for those in the set. And I've cut those from Old Olive. You don't need these little flower pieces. I just cut them out when I was fussy cutting the lemon. Now I have stamped 3 of this flower, the bigger flower, and 3 of the smaller one in Memento ink on basic white thick, and I've fussy cut them out ahead of time. We're going to colour those in just a second. And then I have also cut these tiny little flowers. So there's 2 of the same die. Actually, they're different because one of them's got too small and one of them's got too big. But I've cut them out of Berry Burst Glimmer paper. Now the Berry Burst Glimmer paper is in a pack in the online exclusives, so you won't see it in the catalogue. It's called Berry Burst Old Olive and White Glimmer Specialty Paper. So it has a beautiful white and an old olive green in there too. And a really cool tip with that white is you can actually put a blending brush and ink over it to colour it any colour you want. So that's a great one to have. So I'm going to bring in these little flowers and we're going to colour those together really quickly. I know me, and I did do all this today too. I do sleep. The dogs get me up early though. You're not yet trying very hard to resist. I'm making it hard. Well, good. That's what I like to do. So I have got some blends out to colour these flowers. Now I chose to not use, so when you buy blends, they come in a dark and a light. So I am not using the light and dark of both though. I'm mixing up the colours. So I've got light Melamambo and dark Bubble Bath to use. So these are going to be for the petals. So I'm just going to colour in the petals with my dark Bubble Bath. And I'm colouring the whole petal. Okay. You'll have to tell me if you colour with the when you use blends, if you colour with the light pen first or the dark pen. I kind of mix it up depending on what I'm doing, but today I'm going with the lighter one. So I'm just colouring literally the whole petal. I might do 3 at a time, just so my blend doesn't dry too much on that paper. Because with blends, you want them to blend together. So you want that alcohol to not have dried off too much. Like, it needs to dry off, but not too much. So I'm going to go in with my light Melamambo, and where the lines are in the flower is where I'm adding a little bit of Melamambo. So I'm adding the little bit of darker, just where the lines are in the flower. Oh, one more. So it just gives them a bit of definition. And I'm just going to go and do the same thing to my other 3. So I'm adding the dark Bubble Bath. I've also found that when you're doing stamped images to colour with blends, stamp them and let that memento, like make sure the memento is dry. So it's great to just stamp it and set it aside for a moment to make sure that ink's dry, otherwise it will bleed. Okay. Now I'll go back in with my light Melamambo and I'm just going over those lines in the image. You could go back in and add back in the Bubble Bath to blend out that line if you want to, but it's actually not too bad the way it is. So I also don't want to take out the darker colour and make it too light. I really want that brightness to be quite significant. So what have you got? Light, dark, then light again. That's what I've been doing, Megan. Light, dark, then light again. Same as the new. Yeah, sounds like everyone does the same. Apart from Sue, she does dark, then light. Maybe because I'm a lefty and my son says my brain is back to front. Oh, that's hilarious. My mum's a lefty. Okay, so now I'm going to take my light Lemon Lolly and I'm just colouring in those centres. And then you can't see it much, it's just a tiny detail, but I'm adding a little tiny bit of the peach pie, which I keep calling Peekaboo Peach. Okay, so that's our flowers done now. Because everything is better with sparkle, I'm just going to add in some Winker Stella on top of my flowers. Okay. So I haven't finished my fun fold, which I'll be sharing next week. But the actual fun fold itself has a bit of prep, so I need to make sure I keep the embellishing and stamping techniques to a minimum. Do you think I can do that? Okay, so there's our flowers. Now I want to bring in my greenery. How do you store your Winker Stella? Oh, I just store it like straight up, but that's why I give it a shake every time. Or occasionally I've stored it in the Stampin' Blend storage, so it's flat, but I haven't heard, is there a tip? Do you have to share? Because I haven't heard. I'd love to know, because I mean, if you have this stored up, the glitter is going to go into the base of the pen, so you'll get more of a clear, it won't come out all glittery. So that's why it's good to give these a good shake before you use them. Okay, so now I've got my old olive leaves, and what I want to do is I'm going to grab one of my small blending brushes and Mossy Meadow ink. I'm just going to add a bit to my brush, and I'm just literally adding a tiny bit on the edges of my leaves to make it a little bit darker and a little bit of definition. So I'm not being very precise with it. It's just a quick little ink just to add a bit of depth to those. Okay. What's that? That's what I was wondering, which was the best way to store it. Yeah, I'm not sure, Emma. I mean, I suppose if you store them flat, if you stored these flat, the glitter would probably go to one side anyway, naturally. So you're probably best to shake it every time you use it anyway. Right. Okay, so I'm going to just work out where I want these. Now, I've sort of got them tucked in and around. So I'm going to have my sentiment around here somewhere. So I know that I need two, and then I'm going to tuck one in there. So pretty happy with that, but I'm going to stamp my sentiment first so that I can tuck them in and around. So I've got a scrap of basic white, and I've got the stamp that says All the Love. So I'm going to do the same thing and stamp this with my jet black Stays On ink. And without getting my head in the camera, I'm going to try and get that nice and straight. It's pretty good. Now I'm going to try and use my guillotine because I don't want to move everything to get my trimmer. So let's see how straight I can get this. Oh, move it a tiny bit. Pretty good. If you want a nice straight cut sentiment, you're probably best to use the trimmer. I'm really just winging it right now. Okay, then I'm going to cut my sentiment. I'm just going to cut the ends on a bit of an angle. So that gives me my sentiment. Then that way I know a bit more of an idea of where I'm going to place those. So I'm going to grab out my fine line glue, which I have just ordered a precision glue press or whatever they're called, which I'm keen to get because I'm always using this little thing, which can get quite tough and it can get clogged really easy as well. It's great, but yeah, it can get be a bit of a menace to use sometimes. These are only a cheapies off Amazon. I think I've had people ask me before. They're like $2 off Amazon. And you just pop your Stampin' Up! Glue in there. Oh. Okay. This is not liking me today. Okay, now my sentiment's going to go over the top of that. But I'm just going to pop and tuck in. You could use glue dots to do this as well, if you don't want to be as messy as me. That's why I always have sticky hands. Now this one is really adhered itself to a glue spot in there, so I'm just going to lift that up and add a bit of my liquid glue. I just realised it needs to be moved so that it's not hanging over the card. Okay. Now I'm going to take, why is it dimensionals? When you're using them, you manage to always lose the sheet of dimensionals and then you have to start a new one. It's probably hiding underneath something. So I'll start a new sheet. I'm just going to add one under this little leaf here because it needs a little bit of extra. Then my sentiment, I'm going to add some dimensionals too. and just stick that right over the top of those little greenery pieces I stuck down. I'll probably find it in a second. Now I'm just going to pop, the thing I like about getting the precision glue press is that I have to stick a pin in the top of this to make sure that glue doesn't clog up, and I always forget to do it. So the precision glue press, when I get it, I'll have to show, but I'm sure you've probably seen one. You just pop it in a holder, which is really cool. You don't have to remember to always put the pin back in. Now there's two sizes of these flowers, but I'm going to add 3 onto the front of my card. So just going to use a bit of my glue again, which I don't know why I just put the pin back on if I'm going to do that, but never mind. So I have like sort of roughed up the edges of those to make them a bit dimensional as well. Now my little glittery pink flowers, I'm just going to pull a few of those in and place those around the card. I'll tuck one up here. And then I'm going to pop one in here. So when I place my embellishments on a card, I'm generally working in triangles. So I'll show you what I mean. So when I have placed these ones here, you could actually draw a line to those and make a triangle. The same with this, it's the way that I work. So I've got one there, I'm going up, over, and you can go straight back down and make it a triangle. So that's generally how I place embellishments, and I tend to work in odd numbers. So I've got 3 of each flower because it's an odd number. That's just how I do placement and embellishing, and I find it works for me. So I'm going to spritz some Winker Stella over the whole background, which is really hard to see on videos, but it makes the cards really sparkly. Now I'm going to do one more thing to the outside of this card, but I'll do it last, so you'll see in a moment. I'm going to open this up, and then I'm just going to add, I've got a leftover couple of flowers. I've done one extra than what I need actually, but I'm going to place a couple of these pink flowers just on the inside to carry through that pink. I love making the insides of my cards pretty. There's nothing better than a pretty card on the inside as well as the outside. They're not naked. Okay, so that is the inside of the card. So you can see the back of that designer series paper, but it's fine, like it's not ugly. So I'm going to shut that now, and the last thing I'm going to do to embellish the inside, the card, is actually with these metallic enamel effects. So I use this on my VIP page today on the cards that I made with the kit, which I put somewhere. So this actually, it takes a while to dry, but, and I don't know why I really coloured the centre of the flowers because, you know, I'm going to do this. So I'll get a bit of scrap paper actually so I can show it up close. So with this enamel stuff, you just pop it directly, so sit it directly up and then just lightly press it and pull it up. So it will have a point, but that flattens out as it dries. So I can do little tiny ones or I can do really big ones. Now they'll flatten out and dry to be an actual pearl. So if you can see that up close, they're really fun, and they're a great embellishment that's quite cost effective to add to your cards. So I can't remember, there's 2 different sets of these that you can purchase from Stampin' Up. I'm pretty sure there's one that has the silver, the gold, and the copper, and then I'm pretty sure that these come together as well. So there's a red, a black, and a white. So you can get that set, or you can get the metallics in that set. So I think they're about $27 roughly, and they are awesome. So I'm going to add those to, actually I did it on that flower. I'm not adding it to the coloured flowers. I don't know what I was talking about. I'm adding it to the glittery flowers. So I'm just going to do some little pearls in there. Now I also added it to the inside of the card. So I'm going to carefully open that and just add it to that little tiny one on the inside. Okay, then I probably shouldn't have done that because I love it how I do stuff. I probably shouldn't have done that because I'm actually going to add some of these pearls as well. So I need my, if you can see, I'm not sure if you can see that, they've actually made a nice rounded surface already. So they take a little bit to dry, but it's not too long. I have lost my, oh, there it is. Okay, so I want to add some of these opal rounds that come with the Mediterranean Sweet to my card. And I'm going to use these, I think they're lemon lolly. I'm just going to add them to the centres. So I'm going to add one there, and then I'm going to add, I can't squash the pearl that I've added, so I'm just going to add that carefully onto the front of my card there. And I don't think I added them to the inside, no, because it would make it too bulky. So without shutting it, that is all done and that's ready to go. I just need to let it dry. But you can see the finished one because we've got it just here. So if you can see up close, I'm not sure, the metallic pearls have dried into be little textured pearls. They're really cute. So that is all good to go. I love that there's designer series paper on the inside actually. It's such a pretty design. Okay, so then I'm just pulling out an envelope. I hope that that's the dry one. So I'm like that. Is the hot plate on? I'll touch it to check. So these will fit into the normal standard size envelope. So you can see like that. And they're good to go. So I might quickly decorate the envelope while I'm live. You can see me decorate. Okay, so usually I will blend a colour, which I've honestly got everything out on my desk. It's take 2 of the video I posted earlier. Okay, so I'm going to grab my lemon lolly again and just start blending some colour onto my envelope. I love the quality of the Stampin' Up envelopes too. They're just a really nice stock of paper, and yeah, some of them are, you can feel that they're quite cheap. So these ones are really good quality, definitely worth it. Okay, so I've got some pumpkin pie. I'm just gonna add this on just the bottom. Just bring in a little bit of that orange. Now I'm designing on the whim because I don't know what I'm going to do for this one. So I think I might just add a little bit. I might add a couple of these flowers, I think. And there's a cute little textured stamp. So I might do, with some lemon lolly, I might actually add the textured stamp. So it's quite subtle because it's just showing through that blended colour. Okay, and then I might stamp a couple of these little flowers in some melon mambo. Thanks, Anita. Oh, thanks, Sue. Thanks, Christine. I'm glad you liked it. It was fun to make, and it was quite an easy fun fold. Some fun folds can be a little bit intense, which don't let me forget, I will share the one that we're doing next week. Okay, I'm just going to be lazy and use the Stampin' Blend. So that's as simple as. Now, what you can do also, which is also fun when you're making handmade cards, is I have used this paper on the card. So what I'll do is grab my, I love fun folds too. They're a lot of fun to make. So I'm just going to add some liquid glue just to my envelope flap, making sure I've got all those edges because we don't want it to lift off. And then I'm grabbing my designer series paper that matches with the card, and I'm just sticking my envelope on the edge of that paper. Give it a press down to make sure it's nicely adhered. And then if you take your scissors and just trace them around the edge of that envelope flap. Pop that to the side. And then we have got a decorated envelope to match, but it's also got the matching paper on the back, so you can tell that it's a set. So that all goes together. Isn't it cute? So I can make another one now. I will do that when I'm off the internet, off the live, to match in with that. So I need to make sure that I am not putting my finger in it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is quickly remove the open ink pads because that could be dangerous. And I will show you a sneak peek of next week's card I'm making, just so you can see. Just closing up everything, because knowing me, I'll dump a perfectly fine card in something that it shouldn't be. Okay, I've got coffee, I've got open ink pads, I've got stuff everywhere. Okay, so it's literally not even decorated. This is the card I'll make next week. So it doesn't look like much, but you actually have these little side tabs here, and you open it up, and I have used, which I hadn't actually used yet, the Thoughtful Designs specialty paper. And what you do is you pull on these tabs and it opens. So this is really cool for those scene papers. So what they do is they sit up in triangles, but you can display the card as one big open panel and have something displayed. And then you simply push these shut to put that down again and close it up. So it's really fun. I forget what it's called, but it looks like that, and it's quite large. So you do need a piece of 12 by 12 cardstock to make this one. And then I had, oh goodness, the reason it took me so long is I was trying to, the actual card that I learnt it off was made with a piece of cardstock that was 32 centimetres. So I had to change all the measurements because 32 centimetres is more than a 12 by 12 piece. So we wouldn't be able to make it out of just cardstock with Stampin' Up. So I actually, this is what I do. I make little templates. So this was the template, and it was all it has a million score lines because I mucked it up a million times. But I made it in, I worked it out in metric, but then I wanted to convert it to imperial for those that use imperial. So I've got my templates there. But because it took me so long to do that, I've only got as far as putting the pattern paper on and not decorating. So that will be for next week. So I'll be live on Saturday. So not Sunday, it'll be Saturday. So I can't wait to show what I do with that one. It will be a lot of fun. So I thank you for coming and joining me live. For those that didn't catch it, the bundles, so including this beautiful bundle I used tonight, so the citrus blooms as part of the Mediterranean suite, that is an extra 10% off this month, as well as the Stampin' Cut embossed machines. So this one, I've got the little boho blue one, call him Benny, and then I've got the big one. These are all 10% off. So this little machine is only $99 this month. And then the white one I think is 103 or 102 or something, and the large one, don't quote me, I think it's 203 or something. It's usually 227. So great time to get the machines if you don't have them, or any of the bundles that are on your wish list, because they come to being 20% off. And the other thing is the glass mat. So I can actually, I'll remove this piece of paper. This is the glass mat. And it comes with the little chamois that I showed. So it comes with this, and it also comes with this little inkwell thing here, which you can hold a ink pad on, or you can mix up colours and watercolour with them. This is a great mixed media mat. So that is coming on July the 3rd, or you can actually join and get it now. So you can add it to a starter kit. So when you join, it costs $169, and you get to choose $235 worth of things. You can actually add the $106 mat to the starter kit and save some money and join my awesome team. So the link to join my team is in the video description. So is my shop, where you can buy the bundles for 10% off at the moment. So that is pretty much all the news I have with Stampin' Up. Thanks for joining me, and I'm going to not touch the card because that's what I do, is I touch things and then I wreck them while they're drying. So I'll probably make another envelope to match for this card. So thanks for joining. I had so much fun. Oh, you got your glass mat. I'm glad that you loved it, so it's awesome. So I will pop the PDF, the free PDF for this card up tomorrow. It's almost done, but I like to make sure the video link is in it and it's all good to go. So that will be up tomorrow, and I will share all of these on my blog. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Have a lovely rest of your weekend, and I will see you guys all next week. And if you're watching the video replay, please hit thumbs up and subscribe. Share the video with anyone you know. I love everyone's support. So thanks so much, guys. Have a lovely night. Bye.